Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another address to, of course, more videos being made about us. And one thing that's become abundantly clear is that this creator over here, Analytical Vibes, or I might as well just shorten it because the name is a bit long, we got a Vibe over here just going ahead and going on a bit of a content spree. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he has decided to delve into drama, delve into the abyss, and it does appear that over the past 48 hours, he's already produced 2 hit pieces against me. And it kind of has to make you wonder, where did this animosity come from? Where did all of this desire to try to farm me actually occur when the reality is that I haven't really done very much to the guy at all. I've actually been a pretty fervent supporter of a lot of the content that he does. But once you actually figure out some of the prejudice that he has behind the scenes, that he's openly admitted to, bit of a misplay on his end, it becomes pretty clear, due to Analytical Vibes, 8 Vibes' own self-incrimination, what his true goals are. So he's produced a bunch of videos about the Pridewood tier list, right? First talking about how bad it is, and then I simply made an offshoot comment in one of my streams and in a couple of my videos saying that, well, based off his criticism and based off the takes he was making, it seems like he didn't actually read the changelog. We've got evidence that he did it, and he actually admitted to it as well. But there's another greater piece of evidence that I'm going to play for you right now. And that's the fact that this guy is a MrPokke lover.
And think to themselves, oh wow, this game is suffering from immense power creep. Here's an example. I love MrPokke. He's reacted to a lot of my videos before. I'm just using him as an example of the reaction that a lot of people had.
This guy decided to just simply express how much he desires MrPokke in his most recent video over here, exposing Saint once and for all. So let me just show you the depths to how much he actually loves MrPokke. Because he's decided to use that clip as sort of like evidence of like the community reaction. Let me show you how much engagement that clip has gotten. Sorry, a whole 13-minute video. Yeah, that has 1.6k views in 24 hours. Or over 24 hours, it has 1.6k views. This guy knows for a fact that nobody else was reacting to this shit and decided to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and put MrPokke on a pedestal over here as like a prime example of how the community reacts. What community? You can make it less obvious that you have a gigantic bias for the guy from Singapore. Because imagine using a video that has this little views, this little engagement, and this little desire from the community itself to actually see as some sort of example for how other gacha communities are reacting to the Woo-Wah tier list. Nobody gives a fuck about this guy. Nobody gives a fuck about his Wuthering Waves takes. MrPokke knows that, and that's why he puts this shit on his daily channel, well, that he knows gets no views. So even MrPokke himself knows he can't post this shit on main, because it'll do awfully, because nobody cares about what he thinks about Wuthering Waves. That's kind of just the obvious conclusion that anybody would make seeing viewership like this, and of course, seeing it on his daily channel. But of course, Ain't Vibes over here is going to go ahead and put MrPokke on the craziest pedestal ever, because, remember,
MrPokke, he's reacted to a lot of my videos before. Here's an example. I love MrPokke. He's reacted to a lot of...
He loves MrPokke. And this is the thing. MrPokke has reacted to Anal Vibes video before. And Mr. Anal Vibes was probably very, very, very upset about this one thing over here. MrPokke was basically invoking the HSR 3.4 Fate collab quest. You know, the silent film where you don't actually hear anybody talk and there's just kind of like stuff going on in the background?
Characters in the game.
Let's just see here. React.
Oh, wait. Okay. He's actually reacting to the video. I thought it was...
You can see at 7 minutes, 28 seconds, Analytical Vibes himself decides to say, wow, MrPokke's finally reacting. So you can imagine that the first 7 minutes of this was just him being fucking completely silent. You know, like that silent film in the Fate collab. I bundled this clip alongside a bunch of other clips of MrPokke basically reacting to videos. Check out what he does here. He's just eating. Yes, you might not see it. Let me. He's just eating. And so I bundled MrPokke's silent reaction to analytical vibes alongside Mr. Mukbang over here, where his difference in timing between the videos is about a fucking minute, right? From the original. And that's only because sometimes he pauses when he takes a bite that's too big and he's about to choke on his food. And you can see from the comments over here, everyone's just making fun of him. Mr. Mukbang, Mr. Reupload, Mr. Brokey, Mr. Content Stealer. And of course, I bet good old ain't vibes over here. It's kind of clear that he would hold a bit of a grudge, right? Being weaponized against his daddy like this. Because, remember this.
MrPokke, he's reacted to a lot of people. Here's an example. I love MrPokke, he's reacted to a lot. Here's an example. I love MrPokke, he's reacted to a lot of.
When there's an open admission like that, guys, it starts becoming a lot more clear why this creator crashed out so hard on me. When honestly, all I did was make a couple of brief comments to him regarding his content and the fact that I thought he didn't read the changelog or the criteria of this Pridewood tier list, and as a result, his takes probably weren't the best to actually break down and examine. And the guy went ahead, right, and used basically 4 to 5 minutes of my Twitch VOD and then produced this entire 25-minute hit piece based off of that. But when you begin to realize that this creator has been holding a grudge against me because I dare to go against his idol, MrPokke, man, this stuff starts making a lot more sense. And then you'll begin to notice even more similarities between Anal Vibes and MrPokke. Let's start playing this clip over here.
Let's wrap this up. I didn't make this video for Saint Tontas because he won't watch it. He doesn't engage with ideas and he's not going to watch this video at all.
So that's just a lie right off of the bat because I actually went ahead and, well, let me just show you my channel real fast. I actually went ahead and I produced a whole 1 hour and 38-minute video just farming the fuck out of his initial video. Yeah, so I did that. I did react to him, so he was just wrong on that one. Yeah, no, that one was just a free farm. Probably gonna make like $100. Let's hear what else he has to say.
Made this for you, the viewer, to defend myself against the incredible statements that he's made against me. Saint will now proceed to go on an endless tirade attacking me. After this video is published, and people from his community who sometimes watch this video, they'll send it to him, and then he will just keep spamming videos against me. I mean, this guy will come for my throat.
Doesn't this sound a lot like the narrative that was perpetrated by a Mr. Kiyasu because he couldn't stop making dog shit meta takes about basically any game that he touched?
Know that it's true. Am I going to keep engaging back and forth with him? Most likely not, because this.
And so he openly says, I will not engage. Let me remind you of another creator who said that they would not engage. MrPokke crashed out again. And over his eyes, that's one of his tweets, saying that he will not engage with me anymore. MrPokke made that tweet and then proceeded to do this on one of his streams.
Hey, kanina, this fucking uncle want to talk about Singapore. I got fucking problem with my accent of my country. Limpe happily minding my own fucking business. This one will be a condescending towards my entire country. My friend Pokey called him a dog, right? I will show him a lot of fucking face already. Fucker hell. Tagtone also called him a dog, right? Right, Tagtone also say he's a fucking dog, right? Huh? Why so pressed? PMS, He called you a good boy, Want me to feel trees or not? Kanina, your fucking ass also jealous of the amount of shit coming out from your mouth every other day. There's nothing fucking right in your left brain, nothing fucking left in your right brain, and you still want to pretend you got a brain. You fucking want to go after my country, insinuate other people, it's like what, call them pedophiles, and then you cry that you got marriage report. Kanina, who's fucking fault? Your parents never teach you manners, Huh? Absolutely embarrassing. You know what you...
Your parents never teach you manners. I just want you guys to think about the irony of that statement over here as he absolutely crashes out on me in Singlish.
You want to fucking post the fucking podcast, right? Absolutely. You know what's embarrassing? Huh? Your performance in the hologram tournament cheating. 30-minute head start practicing and you still fucking lost it. Don't fucking talk about my country, no kanina kunde.
So yeah, that's what MrPokke decided to do live on stream after saying he wouldn't engage. And let's check out what Anal Vibes does over here. This is an incredible segment. It will make you think, man, the similarities between these two guys is uncanny.
Hello viewer, post-editing vibe here. I'm interrupting your scheduled programming because I had an epiphany as I was editing this video. Saint Tontas frequently says statements that are so insanely retarded, it made me question why I was making this video in the first place. He has held on for dear life to one argument and one argument alone for why my expose video is stupid and not worth watching. He has one claim. I have 15 for why the value-based tier list is atrocious. In this video, he will endlessly repeat the same argument over and over again, so much so that you'll get tired of hearing it. Maybe you'll get a headache. In fact, it is so asinine that it started to make me question, what am I even doing? Here is his argument. He believes that because I didn't read a particular section of the value-based tier list, I'm not allowed to have any opinion on it at all. My analysis is flawed, and thus my video isn't worth watching at all. And yet, he fails to realize the hypocrisy in the one argument he's parading around. If we use his own logic, he can't claim to have an opinion on my expose video if he's never watched it in the first place. Rules for thee, but not for me.
He basically just starts crashing out and saying a bunch of shit with the most random B-roll possible in the background. Absolutely no proof and no evidence of anything. And the craziest thing is, guys, is that my main claim over here is that Analytical Vibes did not read the changelog, right? He'll admit to it himself.
Is his mindset. I am held to a high standard by him, but he doesn't hold himself to that standard. I say this with as much disrespect as possible. Saint Tontas is the stupidest person in the gacha space, quite possibly medically retarded, and now I know why everyone hates him. And he never realizes he's being so absurdly moronic.
That's a lot of insults, right? Especially considering that I didn't do anything to this guy other than just say that he didn't read. And guess what, guys? Analytical Vibes has been caught not reading. It's an ironic title over here, right? Look at the title of my video. Woo-wah players can't read. Listen to this.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read the changelog, so I was confused why he kept accusing me of not reading it. But you know, I didn't read this whole thing. But I'm willing to admit.
So he just admits in this exposing Saint once and for all. Remember that this is just a clip. I can watch the full video over here, right? He just admits at like the 11-minute mark that he didn't read the updated parts of the tier list, criteria roles, and the changelog. You want to know the biggest sort of contradiction over here? All you need to do is go back to this vid, open up the transcript, and then listen to this part. Let me look up hour.
That he would know. Okay, I know he read the changelog because I actually watched his 1 hour long video of him reviewing the 3.2 update.
So, Analytical Vibes says that he watched my 1 hour video reviewing the 3.2 update. And do you want to know what I do in this 1 hour video? Inside the team tier list, just to first see, alright, I review the entire changelog and the updated criteria page. Yeah, that's what I do in this entire thing. I read the entire criteria over here. And so wouldn't it be crazy somehow if Analytical Vibes somehow didn't read it while also watching and listening to my entire 1 hour video where I read it? So this is the conclusion that you can come to. Analytical Vibes, this is the only time he tells the truth.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it.
Then how are you going to say, Analytical Vibes, Anal Vibes, how are you going to say over here that you watched my whole 1 hour video then?
That he would know. Okay, I know he read the changelog because I actually watched his 1 hour long video of him reviewing the 3.2.
If you watched the whole hour-long video, then, well, this is in the first 12 minutes. I review the entire criteria and roles page. You're probably seeing what's going on over here, right? He's been caught in so many lies at this point, he doesn't even know what he's saying anymore. Because Analytical Vibes has basically gone ahead and said that he watched my whole video. And one of the craziest things over here that's covered in this vid is this segment. Look how long I talk about this piece. Signatures. For example, Cardathea really wants her SIG. Brant also really wants his SIG. Because this is a DPS hybrid healer unit that scales off of ER. And I'm talking about how SIG reliant some characters are. And this is the line that gets highlighted over here. Apparently Analytical Vibes watched my video, right? Signature weapons may be given to characters who strongly benefit from them at the slight penalty of an added cost on the tier list. But then Analytical Vibes, in his crash out response to me, right? Saint tried to expose me, but I expose him. Listen to what he says over here. They're only included in the rating for some characters, which it literally says right here. Signature weapons may be given.
So, Saint says that I didn't read the changelog, claiming that because I used the fact that they use the signature weapons at the beginning of that text as evidence, that Pridewind makes a lot of assumptions. And then he selectively reads a certain part of it at the top, saying Pridewind actually uses 4-star weapons. Takes 2 minutes to talk to a chatter, and then comes back.
He just starts going on this crazy tangent that just proves that he didn't read any of this shit. And then naturally, he tries to convince everybody that he's like right or that he's like spitting. but then just admits later on, right?
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read the changelog, so I was confused why he kept accusing me of not reading it.
And this is the craziest part of the changelog, guys. He said he watched my 1-hour video. He clearly didn't. He said he read the changelog, and he clearly didn't. Do you want to know why? Because it tells you in this changelog over here that Anal Vibes said he read. If you want more details on how exactly we graded characters, read the updated information and criteria sections. So the changelog itself says if you want additional clarification, go read the updated criteria and roles page. But he didn't do that. So that means that Anal Vibes was just reacting in bad faith to the Pride Win tier list, getting mad without the full picture, intentionally not looking for new information, or he lied about reading the changelog in the first place because it says it right fucking here to read the updated section. And remember, he read the changelog, but I guess didn't see this part of the changelog, or maybe he did see this part of the changelog, right? He was just like, ah, fuck it, I don't want to react to that.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read the changelog, so I was confused why he kept accusing me of not reading it. But you know, I didn't read this whole thing.
Wow, that's not a really good look, is it? So, which one is it? Did you watch my video where I cover the updated criteria and rules page, and then you proceeded to still not somehow read it? That doesn't make sense, right? So, you just lied about watching my video. 100%, or you were watching it while paying about 2% attention to it. And so you didn't actually register anything that was being said. Maybe that's a possibility as well. You're just retarded. There's also another lie where Analytical Vibe said he read the changelog, and then the changelog itself tells you to go look at the criteria section if you want more information. And so Analytical Vibes either didn't read the changelog, and so he didn't see that he should go here, or Analytical Vibes didn't want more information, and so he's just admitting to reacting to the entire tier list in bad faith with these videos. But guys, it gets worse. We've got the true explanation over here for why he decided not to react to specific things. Are you ready?
Original stream of his, he was actually talking about all of this. So I needed to read all of this in order to have a valid criticism, in his opinion, to criticize the tier list.
Yes, my take is that if you don't look at information regarding the tier list and then just raw dog it based off of the initial appearance, and you don't look at the details for why the characters are where they are, then your opinion is probably invalid regarding the tier list. That would usually be the take, I think, from most people. But don't worry, right? It gets worse. It gets worse. And there's a reason why I'm referring to that comment, because it's a banger.
Formed. And I do all of that work, but he just doesn't even properly review the video and easily gets 11,000 views, and all he's saying is
okay, he's just being bad about views right now.
Gibberish and nonsense. And I do all of that work, and I'm still trying to get 10,000 views myself.
Okay,
I almost feel dumb, but I feel a little bit better about myself knowing
okay, I need to stop.
he's
like
dumber.
Okay, he's just crying right
I can't
now.
believe he said that. Let's continue.
Thing that you see, no actual mention at all of the actual changelog, the reasoning
Jesus.
for it, and of course, an in-depth review of things like the criteria and roles category over here that actually would break down what's actually going on in some of the updates. This is just and that's the main reason, right? I say his video and his critiques don't probably merit a lot of basis because he didn't read them. And remember, guys, right? He admitted to not doing that.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read.
So he's making all of these videos. He's chimping out like this. He's getting so mad when I was just right the entire time. He's just chimping out, spamming these videos because he's a MrPokke lover. He's a MrPokke lover, and he knows I was right about the entire thing and all of his takes. And so he's making these in a desperate attempt to attack me, knowing he's been wrong the whole fucking time. Why do you think in so many of these videos, right, he just goes ahead and says the most outlandish shit ever without any proof? Why do you think he went ahead and for this section over here just went on this whole like garbage B-roll, shows like fucking random shit, hurls all these accusations, right?
Knows you don't need evidence for why he's stupid.
Oh wait, no, this is the best part over here. Listen to this.
You'll notice I had this epiphany somewhere in the middle of this video, right? So why am I posting it anyway? Anyone who's familiar with Saint knows you don't need evidence for why he's stupid. You came.
He intentionally just admits that he has no proof for any of the things that he's saying and that I'm just dumb and wrong. when he himself just admits that I was right about everything.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read.
And on the other end, he's saying, you don't need evidence to say that Saint is stupid. Then why was I right about everything? Why was I right about everything then? But don't worry, guys, there's more. It's an example of the type of unfortunate misinformation that's been flowing as a result of these videos. And this is where I'm going to have to call out analytical vibes a little bit, because what's one thing you see in the analytical vibes video, or what's one thing that you don't see? Any mention at all of those changelogs, or any mention at all of the updated criteria and roles page. And this is...
All right. Wow. Let's start with responding to that, because that has to be the dumbest, most ridiculous thing I've heard. So he's essentially discrediting my video that he didn't watch, because in the video, I didn't discuss the criteria and roles page and the changelog. So Saint is essentially saying that in order for me to have a valid criticism of a Pride Win tier list, I needed to have read this criteria and roles page in my original expose video.
Well, you admitted to not reading it, and so you don't have the full picture of what changed. Remember, right? He admitted to not reading it, so he has no idea what was here, and the changelog itself tells you, for full details, read it. The changelog says, for full details, read it. He admits to...
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page.
He didn't read it, and so he doesn't have the full information, and so my take is that if you're reacting to this tier list without the full information, your opinion is probably invalid. I don't know. Is this like... How is your name Analytical Vibes? Yeah, it just sounds like just vibes. Cooked vibes. Like, it's just like vibe reacting.
Let's take a look at this, right? I'm not going to read this now. Let's just do a slow scroll. Now, this is not the original one, right? But I imagine they would be just as long and similarly length.
You want to know where Analytical Vibes could have found the original one? On this 1 hour video of mine that he claimed he watched. Remember.
That he would know, okay, I know he read the changelog because I actually watched his 1 hour long video of him reviewing the 3.2 update.
So, he said he watched my video. Remember, right? And my video is where you can see the old 3.2 changelog before it got reverted. Or really, the old 3.2 criteria list. So this is just another nail in the coffin of Analytical Vibes was just lying the whole fucking time. He just lied about watching my video. He lied about all this shit. He just hasn't even been doing any of the things that he's been publicly saying he's been doing. He says one thing, yet all of his research, all of his content, all of that stuff is pointing towards the opposite.
Before doing it, I read the changelog, so I was confused why he kept accusing me of not reading it.
Now you know why I'm accusing him of not reading it, and I'm just going to accuse him even more that he's not fucking reading it, because good golly gee, everything's pointing towards that conclusion.
So wow, Jesus Christ, holy crap, oh my...
Wait, we gotta listen to this, sorry. Just listen to this guy talk about how long this thing is.
Jesus Christ, holy crap, oh my goodness. You know what's so funny about this? Saint has unintentionally proved to everyone through saying that comment that this tier list is the worst tier list in the history of all tier lists, better than I could have ever proved it. He's essentially saying, so let me get this straight. I need to have read this textbook worth of information first.
He called this a textbook's worth of information. I think this guy actually hates reading. I legitimately think, without a shadow of a doubt, he's actually stupid. And like, reading is difficult for him, and he can't do it. And he has like multiple forms of like ADHD that prevents his ability to like just do basic fucking reading. It would take the average person, I think, less than 3 minutes to read the whole page.
So that I would be at the starting point to look at this tier list. And then having that encyclopedia worth of knowledge in my mind.
Encyclopedia worth of knowledge. Bruh, this is what he's calling an encyclopedia worth of knowledge. This changelog over here is like half the length. And so, if this criteria and roles page is just too much for him to read, it's too much work. Oh golly gee, I can't do it. Oh, why are you asking so much of me? If he's bitching and moaning about reading this much, do you think he even read the changelog? If he's making this big of a deal, getting his panties twisted in this big of a bunch over reading the criteria and roles page, do you think he actually read the changelog? No, because I've never seen somebody who's claiming to be analytical complain this much about analysis before. The funniest part over here, guys, is that this dude is basically bragging, right? He's basically out here bragging about the fact that he's intentionally not reading shit because he's too lazy or he's too stupid or it's the material's like just too much stress for him, right? He's just over here saying that like, oh, how dare they, like, how dare he expect me to read the changelog? This is, guys, this is the unfortunate part. And I'm gonna, like this is a term that gets used a lot, even though people don't fully understand it. It is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. When you have a cognitive bias where people with limited knowledge or competence in a domain greatly overestimate their own proficiency. That means when you have no fucking idea what you're actually talking about, you think that you're the most intelligent person to talk about it. How could you?
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it. I read the changelog, so I was confused why he kept accusing me of not reading it. But you know, I didn't read this whole thing.
So he just admitted to not knowing shit. That's a prime example of Dunning-Kruger. He provided all the proof that he is Dunning-Kruger. He's a perfect example of it because he went in and started going off making 4 fucking videos, right? 4 fucking videos on a subject matter he has no idea what he's talking about. And you want to know where my initial take came from that this guy was like fucking cooked in his analysis? I could just show you.
Don't have on your account that allows them to determine for you what will be the highest value characters for you. For example, right here, it says the character's signature weapons are included in the rating. In other words, that because they include the signature weapons, certain characters get a value boost because they have their signature weapons and because Prywin likes them. That's what I suspect. And other characters, despite having their signature weapons, don't get that value boost. I'm going to stop speaking vaguely. Let's just...
He just says every character has their signature weapons up front, right off the bat. No real questions about it. That's just all he does. But then when you go ahead and you take a look at this sentence over here on that value tier list, it just says signature weapons may be given to characters who strongly benefit from them at the penalty of an added cost. So he says that signatures are a value boost, which is the direct opposite of what they are. Signatures make the character's rating go down. And that's actually the reason why this guy's queen, Cardathea, gets bumped down on the tier list. And of course, right, this brother man can't stand that. Bro, he can't stand that. He can't stand that to such a high degree. He almost starts fucking crying. He literally starts basically fucking crying over the idea that Cardathea is this low. Even though, if you had just read this and understood this part of the changelog, you'd be able to know why she's being bumped down in the first place. The best out of all these choices, after including penalties, is used for their assessment. It says it right there. And so Cardathea is a SIG-reliant unit. But guys, don't worry.
Meaning if you don't have Chacona on your account, Prydwin is suggesting that Cardathea is less valuable.
Bro's about to cry. Holy dude, this guy is so caught up in his feelings. Seeing Cardathea at tier 1, he's actually about to cry. This is so pathetic, it's unbelievable. These people aren't real, bro. They're 3D objects, bro. They were made in Blender. What are you doing out here starting to get emotional about this? You puss, grow up.
Meaning if you don't have Chacona on your account, Prydwin is suggesting that Chacona,
if you don't have her on your account, these guys are bro, how are you actually about to start crying over this? And the only reason he starts about to cry, the only reason he's gonna do that, guys, is because he doesn't understand the most important section of that changelog that says signature weapons are given to characters who really rely on them because they don't have other options, like Cardathea. But of course he wouldn't understand that piece and go on this insane rampage, right, that he's been on for the past 4 days.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before doing it.
And you want to know where this information regarding signature weapons is? Bro, let me show you. It's on the criteria and roles page. It was there. So his entire argument about his queen Cardathea being rated low is entirely only based off the fact that this motherfucker can't read.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read this entire criteria and rules page before.
And that's where the information regarding signature weapons was. So this dude basically starts crying on a video because of his own inability to read. Bro's more like MrPokke than we thought. Much like how getting called the guy from Singapore made MrPokke cry like this on stream.
Hey, kanina, this fucking uncle want to talk about Singapore. I got fucking problem with my accent on my country.
So this guy gets called the guy from Singapore, and Analytical Vibes can't read. Awesome. What a diabolical combo. One of them can't read, and the other one gets offended being called the guy from Singapore. But they're both retarded. And you want to know the best part about all of this? There's even more to the bias, ladies and gentlemen. There's even more to the stupidity. Because I've taken a look at some of the other content that's on the channel of Adel Vibes over here. And you want to know what's one thing he does? He grifts for Arknight's Enfield. Just read this title. How Enfield solved Gacha's biggest problems. Arknight's Rushfield. Arknight's Subtlefield. Do you see any videos critiquing Arknight's the game? Probably not, because he's following in his daddy's footsteps, MrPokke, who refuses to ever actually critique a game that deserves it. How can you say how Enfield solved Gacha's biggest problems when Enfield has introduced problems to Gacha? Like, making every single resource in the game expire. Like your sanity boosts, the tickets that you get from pull rebates, those expire. What else expires in this game? Oh, right, I forgot. Your fucking pity expires. On the character banner, on the weapon banner. Yeah, all of that shit expires as well. And so we got this dude over here talking about how the game is solving Gacha's biggest problems, when in reality, all it's doing is introducing new problems to Gacha. The bag chaser phenomenon. And you want to know what my favorite part about this is? He had a video 9 days ago called Arknight's Quit Field. Stop announcing that you quit. And that has been his most recent Arknight's Enfield video. He hasn't made one since. And so now he's just a hyper grifter as well. And when I'm known as one of the only CCs in the space, bar a couple of other smaller ones, that's willing to actually say the truth about this horrible fucking game, and don't worry guys, I've got the proof that it's fucking horrible. Let me just show you this. Get ready for this one, bucko. Yeah, this is not going to be a good look. 1,000 live channels. Or sorry, 100 live channels, 1,000 viewers. Do you know what the average viewer count is per channel? 10. This game has an average viewer count per channel of 10. That is the trend. This game literally looks like Do It Night Abyss. That was version 1.1. The most dog shit 1.1 in Gacha history. No doubt at all. And then it immediately drops down to levels I don't think anyone has ever seen before. This shit is trash. Bro, this looks like a crypto scam. This game's chart of viewers looks like a fucking crypto pump and dump, bro. But of course, when we're a hyper-grifting rat fuck shill CC that openly admits to loving Pokke, who grifts just as hard as we do for a game that obviously doesn't deserve it, stop announcing that you quit? Maybe more people should, because the game's fucking bad. And of course, Ain't Vibes over here is naturally going to have a massive grudge against me, knowing that he's been this much of a grifter for a game that doesn't deserve it. And so doesn't that just give more credence and more evidence to why he's taken such a nuclear response when, remember guys, he's reacting to like 4 to 5 minutes of my Twitch VOD, defending himself against the claim that he didn't read when he already admitted to not reading. He knows I was right the whole time. He knows that he himself did not read. He knew that all of my posts, all of my takes about him were entirely correct. That all of his arguments, especially this whole crash out he had over Cardathea, oh, you need Chacona, they were all right because he didn't read basic fucking information because he was too lazy or too stupid to do it. Bro called 900 words an encyclopedia. Yes, that was the length of this fucking Criterion Roles thing, bro. It was like 900 words, less than 1,000. And he called it an encyclopedia, a textbook. 969 words was too much for this guy. But he claims...
Right? I didn't read this entire Criterion Rules page before
1,000 was too much, right?
Doing it. I read the changelog, so I was confused.
But he says he read the changelog. Bro, the changelog is like 500 words. If you said you were bitching and moaning about 1,000 words, who's gonna think you're gonna read 500? I think you're actually stupid, man. And that just proves how right I was the whole time about every single one of this guy's takes. And so he's just lashing out in anger because he's a MrPokke lover. And he's an Arc Knights Enfield hyper grifter. And of course, he knows he got caught. And the craziest thing is that his own video that he made is the one that exposes him. That's rough. How is he a MrPokke lover? Okay, great. I guess that means you didn't watch his video either.
Tier list and think to themselves, oh wow, this game is suffering from immense power creep. Here's an example. I love MrPokke. He's reacted.
There you go. MrPokke lover that gets caught, denies the truth, lies multiple times, says he will not engage, engages anyways. Can't forget that. That's the MrPokke playbook. Say you're not going to engage and then immediately engage within 24 hours to just prove that you're a massive hypocrite that has no idea what they're talking about. And then from there, keep crashing out day over day and completely ruin your reputation in the space. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think MrPokke is a very good creator to emulate yourself around, especially when the MrPokke channel, I think it looks like this, doesn't it? Is this what we should be striving for, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just take the last 5 videos. 1.7K into a 5.9K banger, then 4.7, then a 2.8 on an early access guide, into a whopping 571 views in over 2 hours ago. Is this what we strive to be? Analytical vibes. Is this what you love? That's a rough look, isn't it? But hey, I guess you love this. And so it makes sense, right? If you're a MrPokke lover, why you hate reading so much. And I'm so glad you decided to provide these 2 clips for me today so I don't have to watch any of your dog shit video. Because it's so abundantly clear you hold a grudge on behalf of MrPokke. A massive grudge on behalf of MrPokke. Because bro's getting dragged, rightfully so, by being a Mr. Mukbang, lazy-ass garbage reactor. And now you hold a grudge against me for Enfield, because you know that game is shit, and if it wasn't shit, you'd actually be making fucking videos on it, but you've already self-admitted too, and the funniest part of all, you quit the fucking game as well. Otherwise, you'd have some actual fucking videos about it. But your last one is 9 days ago, and it's on the topic of quitting. So it's ironic that you just quit after that. And of course, you hold a grudge against me as well because I called you out over something that was literally 1000% true. Woo-wah players can't read. I called you out for that.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read.
And you admit to it yourself. And so you're kind of just proving that all of your responses, all of this butthurt that you're displaying, the need to defend yourself. Oh, Saint is attacking me. Oh, he's so evil and stupid and wrong. How can you say that when I'm literally just absolutely correct on every assumption I made about your channel? Because your takes were so bad, your takes made so little sense, the only conclusion anybody with an above room temperature IQ could come to is that you didn't fucking read anything. And you admitted to it yourself, and you just talked about how much you hate reading to the point where a 1,000 word criteria list overwhelms you. Did he finish high school? Probably not. Yeah, you have to write 1,000 word essays in high school. You have to write 1,000 plus word essays to get into college. That's too much work for this fucking bum. And you want to know what my favorite part is about all of this? It's this guy playing a victim.
His community is mass disliking my videos.
When we reacted to this, guys, he had already made this claim that he was getting mass disliked. Do you want to know what evidence we were able to find of this mass dislike, bro? That was what his dislike ratio was at when he was saying he was getting mass disliked. 1.3k likes into 43 dislikes, and he said he got mass disliked. Bro, it's still at this. Bro, he said he got mass dislike, and this is what it looks like after my videos. This is the modern present day dislike ratio. And he said he got mass disliked a day, like 24 plus hours ago. Keep listening, though.
Clicking on it and not watching it, decreasing watch time, which decreases reach. How do I know this is true? Because they admit it, and that's exactly what they're saying.
He brings up 3 random comments. He brings up 3 comments that have 0 likes and 0 engagement. No replies, no likes. 3 comments across his entire channel to say that I'm brigading him, and that's how he opens up this video. 97% like ratios on his content, and then brings up 3 comments, and then starts saying I'm sicking my community on him to attack him. This is the same guy that's crying over Cardathia's placement on the tier list, and now he's just openly lying about getting brigaded. When you have the context that he's a MrPokke lover, he's an Enfield hypergrifter, and he's just mad as fuck that I said he doesn't read when he himself admits...
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, right? I didn't read.
He himself admits he didn't read. This is just a guy who got caught in every way possible and is lashing out like a fucking cornered animal because he knows he got caught. And the best part is, guys, and this is why I've been saving this for last, just read this dude's comment section. Nobody's actually talking about the content in his video. They're all either just making baseless insults about me, talking about gooning. Again, do you see any comments about his video? No, because his points are fucking awful. His points are dog shit. Nobody has mentioned any actual point he's made, but this comment has the most upvotes because they know this about him. He's bad at drama content. He's legitimately terrible at it. And so throughout his comment section, you'll just see his OG viewers begging him to stop because he's so bad at it. Man, don't fall for drama, bro. I like your regular content. I enjoy your commentary, your jokes. But please, man, drama would just ruin everything. Ignore it, brother. You don't see a single comment actually talking about any of the points he made in this video, because all of his points are shit. And his entire community is just begging him to stop because he's so bad at it. Let me know when you see a comment that isn't just baseless insults and actually talks about what he says in his vid. There's nothing. Read his comment. I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw. Staring back at me was a villain, a very bad man. Then I saw Saint's recent stream and I no longer feel any remorse. Yeah, this guy's a fucking loser. And for some additional context over here, one of the reasons why I won't even be reacting to Anal Vibes' latest dog shit video is because he's clearly a student of MrPokke. And we all know what MrPokke likes to do when somebody reacts to his vids. That's why nobody reacts to MrPokke videos anymore. Nobody in the space does it, right? So naturally, we're going to be looking at bits and pieces of the Analytical Vibes content because we all know he's probably going to step down the same nasty little path that his mentor from Singapore has gone down himself. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.